Hi everyone, and welcome to our video on electronic English. In this video we'll be going over what electronic English is and just providing some examples of how we can encourage students in our language classrooms to interact and play with English by using electronic English and the internet. So electronic English is the default language of the internet, and it's also how we define English texts that have been produced digitally. So anything from emails to ebooks, videos to podcasts, they're all examples of digital and electronic English. So there are two major factors that have altered the linguistic character, both of the internet and of everyday English communication. So the first one that we're going to have a look at is Twitter. So Twitter has altered the linguistic character of the internet because it is a messaging and news and advertising site that only allows 140 characters. So the type of text that you find on Twitter is very different from text that you find otherwise in the social media and even on the internet in general. So Twitter kind of characterizes the essence of social media and internet English. It's meant to be brief and concise, quick and easy for people to read, and that is probably why they have their 140 character limit. And this is where the first activity can come from. So you can encourage students and challenge them to write something in Twitter English using only 140 characters. So this will show students how structure and rhetoric change when you have a very specific amount of characters and words that you can use, and when you have to convey the information that you want to express in a rapid and very concise form. The other major impact on English, especially electronic English, is emoticons. So emoticons provided what the internet language was lacking. So we have facial expressions, gestures, and body position, which have all been provided by emoticons to the internet. Because usually when you message someone on the internet, unless you are using like video Skype or watching a video on YouTube, you don't get to see that facial expression or the body language at all. So now we have emoticons. We have smiley faces and sad faces, thumbs up, thumbs down. We also have stickers and GIFs and videos. So we can add a lot more to our electronic English communications than just simple words. And there are two activities that I would suggest that we can incorporate into our TESOL practice. So the first one is here. So you can see that I have a string of emoticons going across my page. So what you could do is you could provide students with strings of emoticons and have them write in English the story that these emoticons are telling. So you could specify that they have to follow the order, so it has to go in this order, or you could specify that these are the elements that you have to incorporate in your story. Either way, you're going to have students interacting with and interpreting visual and linguistic signs and creating texts that really play with the English language. The second activity I would suggest is the incorporation of emoticons into linguistic stories. So I have the ladybug was happy, for example. So you could get students to write a story that has both emoticons and words, and just see how their language choices changes, and get them to reflect on what they would use emoticons for and what they used words for, and where does the line fall of what we can convey really easily with words and what we can convey more easily with visual language. Okay, so we have a range of text types that we interact with when we go on the internet and have a look at electronic English. So we have Texts that are designed to defeat spam filters. So I have an example here from the World Journal of Research and Review. Now this looks like your traditional academic email, but when you look at some of the choices of language, especially the use of figurative language in the red highlighted section down here, you find that it is actually a text that's aiming to defeat a spam filter. So it's trying not to get caught by the filters that would deem such a text as spam or unnecessary advertising. So we also have texts that are designed to save time, energy, and money. For example, we have text messaging and just online messaging systems that allow us to send messages to people quickly and easily. We have multi-authored texts, so our famous Wikipedia pages, which people can go on and edit quite freely. So this is where another activity could be found. You can either go through a Wikipedia page and try and determine where the language shifts to see how many different contributors have placed different things into the text to see how accurate the text is, or you can, get students to do their own research and then add it to Wikipedia, or just have fun kind of altering Wikipedia and seeing what you can do and where the line between fiction and fact kind of falls on the internet. So we also have anonymous text. So for example, blog posts, social networking, and chat groups. So blogs are relatively anonymous in that you don't have to provide a picture or even any information about yourself. So in this one we have a name and a short introduction paragraph, but we don't have any images of who is writing this blog. So we don't really know anything about the author. So what you could do with blogs is you could get students to read blogs and also to keep their own blog site. This is a really great way of encouraging students to interact with electronic English, because when we write online, it does change the way that we approach English and writing. There's a different relationship between writing and language when it is digital than writing and pen and paper. And you could get students to reflect on that as well, and on how their English language choices changes depending on whether they are writing with a pen or typing with a keyboard. So we also have automatic translations. So Google Translate is both a wonderful resource and a source of great entertainment. So for example, here I have Google Translate translating the English good morning into the German Guten Morgen. This is a perfectly fine translation. Sometimes Google Translate does get it right, but there are other times when Google Translate misses the mark. And I'm going to show you an example here as something that you can do as a short activity in a classroom as well. So this is the Kyoto Museum of Traditional Crafts website. It's a Japanese website, and it has a Japanese page and an English page. So we're currently on the English page. Watch what happens when I go to the Japanese page. So we have a box that comes up, translating, translated. If I click show original, the Japanese text will come up. But I'm going to have a look at the about the permanent exhibition section. Just these two sentences here first. So it says, "We will greet everyone at entrance of townhouse style, full of emotion like Kyoto and Tsubosaka. After the prologue, the world of traditional craft is spread beyond that." So it doesn't really make sense in the English. There is something missing in translation. So if I go show original, the Japanese text comes up. And that's fine if you can read Japanese fluently, but for everyone else, I think we're better off with the English page. So this is what the About the Exhibition page says in English. "The museum welcomes you with its Machiya-style entrance and inner garden, so characteristic of Kyoto atmosphere. Enter the world of traditional crafts." Not only is this a more nuanced version of the English translation that we had, it also makes sense as two distinct sentences, and the language and grammar styles fit the English language requirements. So what you could do as an example of exploring automatic translations and electronic English is you could ask students from different language backgrounds to find a website that's in their native language and compare the original language with the English translation that's provided by the automatic translation software, and do a little presentation about how the language has changed and what changes have taken place. Finally, we have evolving texts. So these are texts where there's no finished product. Now, most texts on the internet will fall under this category because they are constantly being uploaded and updated. Social messaging sites are a prime example, but other websites will do the same thing as well. So I hope you have enjoyed this little look at electronic English and how we can use it in our TESOL classrooms to encourage students to really play with the English language and see how English is used across the globe in a digital environment. Thank you very much.